Sodom was the most depraved city in the ancient world, a place so corrupt and beyond redemption that the Almighty God himself came down from heaven to erase it from the face of the earth in a single morning. But what most people do not know is what daily life inside those walls actually looked like. And the real reason God destroyed it is not the sin everyone assumes. The prophet Ezekiel, writing centuries after the ash settled, reveals something that should stop every one of us cold. The depravity was not the disease, it was the final symptom. The disease started with three things that look exactly like success. This is the complete story of Sodom, a beautiful paradise that slowly became an inescapable prison to the souls of men. Before we see the paradise, we desperately need to know who built it. Genesis 10 draws the specific borders of a territory belonging to a man named Canaan, son of Ham, grandson of Noah. After the great flood, Ham sinned against his father, and Noah spoke a heavy curse over Ham and his son Canaan that would violently echo through countless generations. The borders of Canaan and his territory are listed precisely in Genesis 10 verse 19, from Sidon toward Gerar, as far as Gaza, and toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim. Sodom was a Canaanite city built by a cursed bloodline on land that carried a severe generational sentence. And yet, when Abraham and Lot looked down at this sprawling valley, it looked exactly like the pristine garden of the Lord. That is always how the trap works. Close your eyes and picture Sodom. Most people picture a dark city, a cursed place, something ugly and terrifying right from the beginning. The Bible says the exact opposite. Genesis 13 records the moment Abraham and his nephew Lot stood on the highlands and looked down at the vast Jordan Valley. Abraham generously gave Lot the first choice of land, and what Lot saw in that valley completely took his breath away. The ancient text says the entire Jordan Valley was well-watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, like the wealthy land of Egypt. This was absolutely not a barren wasteland. This was the most fertile, most beautiful, most abundant land in the ancient Near East. It was the ancient world version of a glittering Gold Coast, a booming, wealthy, thriving civilization sitting perfectly at the crossroads of major trade routes, surrounded by life-giving water, bursting with endless agriculture, and accumulating staggering wealth. If you walk through the massive gates of Sodom at the height of its power, you would not see a slum. You would see breathtaking luxury, towering palaces built from the wealth of 100 trade routes, bustling markets overflowing with exotic spices, fine linen, and imported gold. You would hear enchanting music engineered specifically to drown out the human conscience. You would see lavish banquets where wealthy men ate until they were sick, while desperate beggars starved just outside. It was a culture deeply obsessed with its own beautiful reflection, a society that had completely conquered nature, eradicated poverty for the elite class alone, and proudly decided it no longer needed heaven. They had built a glittering world where every appetite could be fed and every dark impulse could be purchased. Lot looked down at paradise and chose it. Nobody can really blame him for making that specific choice. Paradise is supposed to be a good thing, but right here is exactly where the story begins, its slow, terrible descent into madness. Lot does not move into Sodom immediately. The ancient text is incredibly precise about this subtle detail. He pitched his tent towards Sodom, not in Sodom, merely toward it. He camped right on the edge of the boundary. He stayed comfortably close. He let his innocent children grow up within clear sight of those towering city walls. He confidently told himself he was totally separate. He told himself the close proximity was completely harmless. He was dead wrong. This is the exact psychological mechanism by which Sodom destroys people. It is never a sudden plunge, but a slow and gradual drift. You do not just jump right into the deep end. You pitch your tent near the water. You flirt harmlessly with the culture. You let their enchanting music play softly in the background of your life. You tell yourself you are still in total control. And slowly, without a single dramatic moment of decision, the corrupt city simply gets inside you. If you want to know the terrifying truth of how this ancient force still impacts you today, hit subscribe right now. Because Ezekiel reveals exactly why Sodom was actually destroyed. It is not what most people expect, and absolutely not the specific sin everyone assumes. Ezekiel 16 records God giving his own precise diagnosis of the city. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and completely unconcerned. They simply did not help the poor and needy. Arrogant, overfed, unconcerned. That is the dark root. That is the actual disease that rotted them from the inside out. When a culture accumulates extreme wealth, extreme comfort, and totally loses all fear of God, sin does not just stay where it starts. It rapidly mutates, it escalates. People who are completely bored with endless luxury begin to reach for something much darker just to feel alive. Vicious cruelty suddenly becomes casual entertainment. Brutal exploitation becomes completely normal. What was once totally unthinkable merely becomes a typical Thursday night in the city. And Sodom was absolutely not alone in this dark descent. This is a critically important detail. People always think of Sodom as just one isolated city. It was not. There were actually 5 distinct cities of the plain: Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar. 5 cities forming one interconnected civilization, a whole culture of staggering wealth without a shred of conscience. They had luxury without any limits, and massive abundance without a single drop of gratitude. Whatever dark sickness infected Sodom had rapidly spread across an entire region. This was not just a single corrupt city, this was an entirely corrupt world. And precisely because of their massive wealth, Sodom became a highly valuable target. For 12 long years, the 5 cities of the plain paid heavy tribute to a powerful coalition of eastern kings. Led by King Chedorlaomer of Elam, it was essentially ancient protection money. Every single year, a massive portion of Sodom and its enormous wealth flowed east as payment. But in the 13th year, the 5 wealthy cities made a fatal decision. They simply stopped paying the tribute. What followed is the first military coalition ever recorded in the pages of the Bible. 4 powerful kings marching aggressively against 5 defending kings. Genesis 14 documents what modern scholars now widely recognize as a major ancient geopolitical conflict. This was absolutely not a minor border skirmish. This was a massive and bloody regional war. And Sodom lost completely. The valley of Sodom, where the brutal battle was fought, was filled with hidden asphalt pits, natural tar deposits that instantly turned the chaotic battlefield into a massive death trap. The defending army of Sodom completely collapsed right into them. The victorious eastern kings casually walked through the defeated valley, looted the entire city, took absolutely everything that could be carried away, and marched back home with countless prisoners of war. Among those terrified prisoners was Lot, who had by now moved his entire family inside the walls. Urgent word finally reached Abraham about the tragic capture. And what Abraham did next is widely considered one of the most astonishing military operations in all of ancient history. He quickly gathered 318 highly trained men directly from his own household. He strategically divided them into strike units. He relentlessly pursued the massive Eastern coalition by night, struck them violently from multiple directions simultaneously, and completely routed a battle-hardened army that had just defeated 5 entire cities. He miraculously recovered every single person, every stolen possession, and absolutely everything else. He brought Lot safely home, and then 2 kings came out to meet Abraham on the dusty road. This is the exact moment the entire biblical story turns on. This is the ultimate crossroads of human history. The first king to approach is Melchizedek, the righteous king of Salem, high priest of God Most High. He comes forward bearing simple bread and wine. He powerfully blesses Abraham in the holy name of God. And Abraham, who is undeniably the most powerful man in the entire region at that exact moment, humbly tithes to this priest. He gives 10% of absolutely everything freely to this mysterious priest king of a city that will one day be famously called Jerusalem. Then the second king finally arrives on the scene. It is King Bera, the ruler of Sodom. He does not bring holy bread and wine. He brings a very tempting offer. He confidently tells Abraham to keep all the recovered wealth for himself. Take the goods, you earn them. keep absolutely everything. But Abraham firmly refuses the offer. He will not take a single tiny thread, not even a worthless sandal strap from the corrupt king of Sodom. He absolutely does not want Sodom to ever be able to boast and say it made Abraham rich. Two powerful kings standing there making two very different offers. One brings simple bread and wine and points directly toward the eternal peace of Jerusalem. One brings massive worldly wealth and points directly toward inevitable ashes. Abraham saw the stark difference with absolute clarity. The blind king of Sodom did not see the spiritual reality of the situation at all. God had graciously given the city of Sodom a massive warning. He specifically sent Abraham to rescue them from captivity. He clearly showed them through the sharp contrast of those two kings that there were two distinct kingdoms. He showed them there were two very different destinations. But Sodom greedily took their recovered gold back and went right back home to their old ways. They were going to need a much louder warning to wake them up. That final warning would eventually come, but they would tragically not listen to that one either. Decades slowly passed by. Lot is still living deep inside Sodom. When the heavenly angels finally find him, he is sitting prominently in the main gateway of the city. This is absolutely not a casual historical detail. In the ancient world, the city gate was the official seat of all civic authority. Respected judges sat at the gate to rule. City elders conducted all major business right there. Lot sitting comfortably in the gateway of Sodom means Lot has officially become a high-ranking city official. He is no longer just living quietly in Sodom. He is actively governing the city. He is now a fundamental part of its corrupt power structure. He has assimilated into the darkness completely. And yet the New Testament clearly tells us his righteous soul was deeply vexed. He was daily tormented. He knew deep down in his bones that something was horribly wrong there. He could physically feel the suffocating wrongness of the city every single day of his life. But he stayed anyway because by now he had daughters who were married to the local men of Sodom. He had valuable property. He had high social status. He had built a legacy here. And the terrifying thought of just walking away from absolutely all of it was completely unthinkable to him. Before the angels even reach Sodom, God tells Abraham exactly what he's about to do. He says he is going down to see if what he has heard about the city is actually true. And Abraham does something truly remarkable in response. He boldly bargains with the creator of the universe. He stands firmly before God and begins to desperately negotiate for the lives of people he already knows are deeply wicked. What if there are 50 righteous people hidden in the city? Will you spare the entire region for just 50? God mercifully agrees. Abraham pushes further and asks, what about 45, 40, 30, 20, or even 10? Each and every time, God patiently agrees. If there are just 10 righteous people inside Sodom, the entire city will be completely spared. Just 10 people in a massive city. That is the shockingly low threshold of God and his boundless mercy. The simple lives of 10 good people would have been more than enough to hold back the apocalyptic fire. The two angels finally arrive at the city gate at late evening. Lot sees them approaching and immediately understands they desperately need his protection. He frantically urges them to come inside his house for safety. He knows exactly what happens to innocent strangers in Sodom when it gets dark. He knows exactly what this demonic city eagerly does to the weak and vulnerable. Before they can even sleep, the dangerous men of the city completely surround the house. Genesis chapter 19 verse 4 absolutely does not allow for any historical ambiguity here. It explicitly says both young and old were there. All the people to the very last man surrounded the house. Every single man in the entire city, the young men and the old men, the entire male population, gathered violently outside Lot and his front door. There were absolutely not 10 righteous men left in Sodom. There was not even one single righteous man left. What happens next reveals exactly how deeply the poison of Sodom had gotten inside of Lot. He slowly opens the door to the chaos. He desperately tries to reason with the screaming mob, and then he actually offers them his own innocent daughters to pacify their dark desires. He offers his own flesh and blood just to protect the visiting angels. He is totally willing to hand his own children over to that vicious crowd. This is absolutely not heroism. This is a broken man so deeply shaped by the twisted culture around him that he has completely lost the basic human ability to think clearly about what is truly precious and what is not. Sodom did not just surround his physical house that terrifying night. The dark spirit of Sodom had been living comfortably inside his own mind for many long years. The angels forcefully pull Lot back through the door to safety, and then they finally act. Every single man in that raging mob is instantly struck blind. It happens supernaturally in a flash. A terrifying force far beyond any human explanation completely removes their physical sight, removes their sight in a single moment. And the completely reasonable expectation is that a massive crowd suddenly blinded by an invisible heavenly power would instantly scatter in absolute terror. You would think they would run for their lives. You would assume they would stumble home and stay hidden in the dark, but they absolutely do not go home. Genesis chillingly records that despite being struck totally blind, they literally wearied themselves trying to find the door. They just kept reaching out. They kept frantically searching. They kept aggressively clawing at the stone wall in the pitch-black dark trying to get inside. They could not see a thing. They could not find the wooden door, and they absolutely could not stop trying. That is the ultimate terrifying portrait of a human mind fully consumed by its own dark corruption. They had been blinded by a supernatural force, and they simply did not care at all. They desperately wanted what they wanted, and absolutely nothing else even registered in their minds. Not raw terror, not basic human reason, and certainly not the obvious message waiting inside. The message that something far beyond human power was waiting inside that specific house did not matter. They just kept blindly scratching at the wall like animals. There were not 10 righteous men in Sodom. The apocalyptic fire was definitely coming in the morning. The angels do not even wait for Lot to be fully ready. They forcefully grab him by his trembling hand. They grab his terrified wife. They grab his 2 panicked daughters. And they physically drag all of them out of the doomed city by sheer force. They aggressively tell them to run for their lives and to not look back. Whatever you do, do absolutely not look back today. Lot and his wife had built a whole life there. She actually has a name in ancient Jewish tradition. She is commonly called Irit. She was a loving mother. She had other daughters who were tragically still trapped in that city. They were married to arrogant men who openly laughed in his face when Lot desperately warned them to leave the city. She had a beautiful home there, lifelong friends, and a comfortable life. She had built that life slowly over decades. She had completely unpacked her entire life in Sodom and happily filled every single room with memories. As she runs for her life, absolutely everything she has ever known and loved is burning right behind her. And so she looks back. It is incredibly easy to read that as a very small mistake. We think of it as just a tiny moment of human weakness and grief, a quick innocent glance over the shoulder. But Jesus Christ himself absolutely does not read it that way. In Luke chapter 17, when he urgently warns his own disciples about the terrifying last days of earth, he says 3 very specific words to them. Remember Lot and his wife. He does not say remember Sodom. He does not say remember the falling fire. He says remember her, just her, because her fatal sin was absolutely not the physical glance. Her true sin was exactly what that desperate glance revealed about her inner soul. She looked back at the destruction because her human heart was still living right there in the streets. Her physical body was finally leaving Sodom, but her mind was absolutely not leaving Sodom. She deeply loved the exact same corrupt things that God was currently destroying from the sky. She openly mourned what God was rightfully judging, and because of that, she instantly became a lifeless pillar of salt. And then the apocalyptic fire finally falls from the sky. The Bible vividly describes burning sulfur and raging fire literally raining down from the heavens above. The earth violently opens in total destruction. Modern scientific researchers carefully studying the ancient site at Tal el Hammam have actually found physical evidence of a massive cosmic airburst event. They believe it was likely a massive meteor or a comet fragment that detonated in the atmosphere. It exploded directly above the valley at horrifying temperatures that would have instantly exceeded the surface of the burning sun. The invisible blast wave would have traveled at terrifying hypersonic speed across the land. Every single physical structure in the entire valley was violently leveled in a matter of seconds. The extreme heat was so incredibly intense that it instantly melted clay pottery into solid glass. It literally boiled the water right inside the soil and violently stripped the topsoil completely off the entire valley floor. An entire advanced civilization was completely erased in a single terrifying morning. Abraham slowly walks out that very same morning and looks down toward the silent valley where Sodom and the 4 other cities once proudly stood. He looks down and sees thick, dark smoke rising up like the choking smoke of a massive furnace. There is absolutely nothing left standing. There is absolutely nothing moving down there. Just endless, dark smoke. But the terrifying story absolutely does not end right there. This is incredibly important to understand. Sin absolutely does not end just because the fire falls. Lot and his 2 surviving daughters flee in absolute terror to hide themselves deep inside a dark cave in the isolated mountains. They are the only human beings left alive from that world. And his 2 daughters, who were deeply shaped by their many years living inside Sodom, suddenly decide that the only way to preserve their family line is dark. They decide they must deeply deceive their own father. They carry out this twisted plan on 2 consecutive nights in that cave. The 2 sons born from those dark nights are named Moab and Ammon, and those 2 nations born in a dark cave from the smoking ruins of Sodom will eventually become 2 of Israel and its most violent and persistent enemies. They will remain enemies for the next 1,000 years of history. The ancient curse that started with Ham, that literally built Sodom through Canaan, and that barely survived the fire in the cave, just kept violently reproducing itself over time. The heavenly fire completely destroyed the physical city, but exactly what Sodom had slowly put inside the minds of those survivors simply walked right out with them into those isolated mountains. Sin always echoes. It travels silently through countless generations. It absolutely does not die in the smoking rubble where Sodom once proudly stood. You can actually look at a modern map today and see the physical proof. The entire region is now completely covered by the Dead Sea. It is literally the lowest physical point on the face of the entire earth today. It is the saltiest and most toxic body of water on the entire planet. Absolutely nothing grows there. No fish can ever live there. No green vegetation ever lines its barren shores. The dry ground all around it is permanently stained white with thick layers of heavy mineral deposits. It is a massive and permanent geological scar on the earth. God did not just casually destroy the corrupt city, he violently salted the earth beneath it so incredibly thoroughly that 4,000 years later, absolutely nothing has ever returned to life. You can open Google Maps right now and see exactly what permanent divine judgment actually looks like from a modern satellite. Now, I desperately need to talk to you directly. I am not talking about ancient Sodom anymore. I am talking directly about you and your life right now today. The very first sin was simply pitching the tent. Absolutely nobody moved directly into Sodom on day 1. They just camped near it. Lot looked deeply at the wealthy culture of the valley. He confidently told himself he could easily handle the close proximity without getting burned by it. He told himself he was totally separate, that the physical distance was perfectly safe, and that he was definitely strong enough to stand right on the edge of total destruction without being consumed. But that is the truly terrifying nature of moral compromise. It never asks for your soul instantly. It just politely asks you to move your tent a little bit closer. It asks you to let their enchanting music play softly in your background. It asks you to let your innocent children watch the culture from a supposedly safe distance. And slowly, without a single dramatic moment of decision, you change. The corrupt city simply gets inside your mind. So the truly terrifying question is exactly this. Where is your tent currently pitched right now? What exactly are you staying dangerously close to right now, simply because you really like the view? What specific modern culture are you flirting with? What dark entertainment or toxic relationship are you deliberately camping near, all while confidently telling yourself it is not affecting you at all? You honestly think you are just standing on the safe edge observing it, but it is slowly, quietly, and meticulously reshaping the way you think entirely. It is changing exactly what you believe is normal. The terrible descent into the ashes never begins with a massive jump off a cliff. It always begins with a simple tent. The second massive sin was arrogance. Arrogance, overfeeding, and being deeply unconcerned about the suffering of others around you. We currently live in the wealthiest and most technologically advanced civilization in all of human history. We have overwhelmingly more abundant food than any group of people who have ever lived on this planet. We have more endless entertainment, more extreme comfort, and more endless daily options than ever before. And yet, simultaneously, we currently have the highest scientifically recorded rates of severe depression, crippling chemical addiction, profound human loneliness, and total meaninglessness of any modern civilization that has ever been comprehensively studied. More physical comfort has absolutely not miraculously made us more content in our daily lives. More endless options have certainly not made us more truly free. More endless digital entertainment has absolutely not made our heavy souls feel any less violently empty inside. We are incredibly arrogant, massively overfed, and deeply unconcerned. What does that exact diagnostic profile sound like to you right now? The third fatal sin was clawing blindly in the pitch-black dark. The frenzied and violent mob outside Lot and his door was struck completely blind. They were struck by a terrifying supernatural force, and they simply kept desperately reaching for the wooden door anyway. They fundamentally could not stop themselves. They could not honestly see what they were actively doing to themselves in the dark. They were so utterly consumed by the raging fire of what they selfishly wanted that literal physical blindness did not even slow them down. Did not slow them down for a single second. And I want to ask you a question that I want you to sit in complete silence with today. What exactly are you still desperately reaching for that has already cost you your spiritual sight? What specific dark appetite are you still aggressively feeding that has already completely blinded you to reality? What is it actively doing to your marriage, your fragile mind, or your eternal soul? What specific door are you still frantically clawing at in the dark right now? And then there is the fourth and perhaps most terrifying mirror of all, the story of the two different kings. Every single person watching this video is standing right now on the exact same dusty road. You are standing on the road that Abraham stood on after the great battle. Two distinct and powerful kingdoms are actively making you a very specific offer right now. One respectfully offers you simple bread and wine today. That king points steadily towards something truly eternal and incredibly lasting. The other king aggressively offers you immediate massive wealth, ultimate physical comfort, and fleeting social approval. He offers the approval of a modern city that is already firmly scheduled for the apocalyptic fire. Abraham saw the clear difference in a split second. The ultimate question is absolutely not which offer momentarily sounds better to your ears today. The real question is which king you are already quietly tithing your entire life to right now. Where exactly is your precious and limited time going? Where is your ultimate human loyalty actually going? Where is your highly limited energy being poured out every single day? One king leads directly to the eternal peace of Jerusalem. One king leads directly to the deafening silence of the burning ashes. You are already walking purposefully toward one of them. Which one is it? Sodom was originally promised to be a beautiful paradise. The vast Jordan Valley was exactly like the lush garden of the Lord. It was the most beautiful and wealthy land in the entire ancient world, and it ultimately delivered total and absolute annihilation to everyone. It stands right now as a permanent physical monument, literally visible from outer space, completely covered by the deadest body of toxic water on the entire planet. It is a cursed place where absolutely nothing grows and nothing lives. It is a monument to what happens when a culture rebels. It is exactly what happens when a society decides it desperately wants God and His blessings without obeying God and His laws. Jesus Christ said it incredibly plainly to all of us. In the days right before the Son of Man is fully revealed, will be just like the days of Lot. People will be casually eating, drinking, buying, selling, planting, and building their lives, and then the sudden fire falls from the sky. He was absolutely not just speculating about the future. He was urgently warning us. He said to remember Lot and his wife, not as a mere historical curiosity, but as a direct instruction. He said it because the exact same dark pattern is entirely possible again today, because the exact same subtle drift is actively happening again right now, because the comfortable tent is already pitched right outside the city walls. The terrifying fire already fell once before. The physical archaeology clearly proves it happened. The ultimate warning is already on the permanent record for all of humanity to see. What you choose to do with it right now is entirely your decision. I really want to hear from you in the comments section down below. Tell me exactly what hit you the absolute hardest in this video today. Was it the mysterious King Melchizedek? Was it Ezekiel and his terrifying medical diagnosis of the culture? Share your honest thoughts below because I actually read every single one. If this video completely changed how you see this ancient story, hit that like button right now so this urgent warning can reach even more people. Subscribe to the channel and carefully check out my other videos because the hidden history we are uncovering next is just as urgent. It is just as real and just as terrifying. The ancient fire already fell once from the sky. The final warning still violently stands across the sands of time. Remember Lot and his wife before it is absolutely too late.